this. Okay, let's go through your stupid. Make sure that I don't like this segment. Just for the record, fan advice is a stupid segment.
Why?
But we can do it. It's so dumb. What's the point?
To give advice to our fans.
But that's not the like. Oh, no, that's like when people run out of ideas and they start doing Q&As. Like Tyler Oakley ran ideas. So it's like we're gonna do Q&As now because we have nothing else to talk about. Okay, go ahead. It's such a dumb segment.
It's so not. It's
like we have nothing to fill the time.
Okay, well, what you want to talk more about the what, Brokeback Mountain, a movie from fucking like 10 years ago?
It's like a lazy podcast. Like we're gonna play games on the like you know.
A lazy podcast. You don't do anything for it. You just show up. We do all the work.
Oh my god, yeah, right.
How am I wrong?
With what? I always contribute. You never had like. First of all, when you were doing all the podcasts, it was like Keemstar, Jake Paul, like, and everyone's like, we're so sick of hearing about this because it's everything. Like, I saw on this, you had stuff from last H3. You just recycle H3 content on Frenemies. You're like, oh, we're gonna do Trisha through the history meme or whatever, and like, you already did that on the last episode, and I saw it's on here.
I didn't bring it up. I didn't say it.
But the fact that it's already on there, like, I had to bring up all these other topics because I'm like, I don't want to go to that because you brought it up last week.
Let's see. We put together this Gabby Hanna segment.
I mean, I literally, again, could have done that for my head. I always chime in with my topics. Like, I always do because, like, I try and steer it.
What did you bring on the Logan Paul fight?
I brought it up, first of all, because it's something trending.
You're like, I don't even know what to say about it. I don't even know why people watch.
I never pick the costumes. I never do the vlogs. I give so many ideas. I say dancing for the vlogs. I give all these ideas, and you don't. It's just
what's wrong with that advice
for you? I don't think it's a good segment.
The people want to hear from us.
Okay. Do it. I'm
okay.
telling you my opinion. And all the vlogs we've done, I've suggested other vlogs, and like that never does.
Well, if you don't like it, then we shouldn't do it.
Okay.
Since this is a show about me and you.
No, but you're saying I do all the work, but I'm telling you I don't like all the stuff you do. I'm just kind of go with it because I'm like, okay, I guess this is what you want to do, but I have to start saying no because some things are just not good ideas.
I like it for the record.
Okay.
Sometimes you get really interesting questions.
They're not though.
Brutal.
I just don't like when we spend like, well, whatever.
Go ahead, say it. There's a good script.
But you're asking like, we do all the work. It's like we spent one frenemies rehashing all the stuff you said about Keemstar and H3 Live, which was 2 days prior.
Okay, it happened one time.
No, it's happened before where you just like bring up stuff that you've already mentioned, like, and it's fine. But
why are you attacking me?
You asked me, you said, tell me, and I'm telling you, like, just because you guys come up with everything doesn't mean it's good. It's recycled, a lot of it. So it's like, I can come up with new ideas. A lot of it.
No. Mm-hmm. If you have ideas, I'm all ears.
I watch H3 Live, and we talk about the same thing, and I'm happy to talk about it.
It's not always like that. It's happened before, I agree.
It happened last time. It's happened a lot.
It didn't happen last time, did it?
The title was like pregnancy announcement, which is I'm happy to talk about the pregnancy.
We talked a lot about the pregnancy here.
But it wasn't the pregnancy announcement. H3 Live was. It's your guys' thing, which I'm happy to talk about. I'm happy for you guys. But to say like, oh, we don't recycle things, it's like, you know, you do, and it's fine. But I don't make it the same title because it's not an announcement. We're talking about your pregnancy.
I wouldn't say recycling. It's a different conversation.
The original one was Trisha's gonna like something. It doesn't have to be about me, but I'm just saying like the fact that it's a pregnancy announcement again when it's not a pregnancy announcement because I'm not pregnant. You know what I mean? We're talking about your guys' pregnancy. It wasn't an announcement. You announced it on H3 Live.
Oh, you thought that people would think it was about you being
Of
pregnant?
course it was, because you are, unless you're just recycling the same title you did for H3 Live, which is, it's not, it's just like, I watch H3 Live. I don't want to talk about it on Frenemies. Like, if we're being honest,
well,
you know.
we were going to talk about Hila being pregnant, obviously.
Of course.
Yeah.
But the title has to be pregnancy announcement.
I don't see why that's a problem.
Because you did that on Friday. You're just recycling titles. It's not an announcement. You weren't announcing it.
Okay, so Hila's pregnant, and I'm talking about it with Trisha. Would you prefer that?
Anything to be more creative. It's like the fact that you just talk about what you talked about the week prior is like, and I've seen other people call it out. It's not just me. Like, I mean, people have called it out before. Like the whole Keemstars, I didn't know it was like the 30 minutes was exactly the 30 minutes you did on H3 Live.
Yeah, I agree. That part was
That's crazy.
Sometimes I forget what I've talked about, honestly.
But you're saying you have all this crew that does all this work for you, and nobody could remember that you talked about that 2 days prior?
I agree. Somebody should have said something. I was like, guys, why don't you tell me when I'm talking about the same shit over and over? Because I tell to them, I go, yo, make sure to include this. And they go, oh, okay. But I go, oh, shit, I talked about the same thing. But I feel like you're so angry about this.
I'm literally not, but it's just so funny.
Are.
I'm not. I'm angry when you say something.
You need to admit when you're angry.
Ethan, I promise you, this is really is gaslighting. I go to a lot of therapy right now, and this really is. When I say I'm not angry, I'm not. I'm like just trying to tell you that you're like, oh, we do everything for the show, and I'm like saying it's not always good. I'm not angry. If I was angry, I would like leave or something, but I'm not. But you telling me I'm angry
or something. You're not upset or angry. Okay. All right.
But it is like frustrating when you think you do all this work and like think, oh, we're doing all this great stuff, and it's like, it's not that great sometimes. A lot of it is, and I like appreciate all the work you do and stuff like that. But it's also like, not that great. I don't get input on like people we hire, like all this stuff like that. I don't get
People we hire. Why would I ask you about people I hire?
Because it's frenemies and you take the budget for paying the crew. That's what you told me. You take highlights, you take 5% to pay the crew.
No,
so why don't I get any input on the crew or what we do?
These are employees of our
So why are you taking
company.
highlights and 5% of frenemies? You told me that it was to pay them, that they could be working.
It's for production costs.
Okay, but you told me
it's for
at the
production
beginning,
costs.
You told me at the beginning it's like they could be working on other things. So I made that argument too. I'm like, well, they're already H3. Oh, they could be working on other things. So I'm like, okay, in that case,
for production costs. I take 5% extra from the podcast revenue, and I take the highlights revenue, and everything else we split.
Right. So for production costs.
Yeah.
But again, you were about to move us all to downtown LA, and I was just like, but the production cost should be included.
Yeah.
Like you were going to share the cameras because Dan said, oh, we have to get new computers and new cameras. But I'm like, Frenemies
and I
has the budget.
obliged you. I said, okay, fine.
But you fought me on it.
Because we bought a studio downtown that was always the plan, by the way, that we were going to move downtown. And then all of a sudden I was like, yo, and I was like, yo, we're moving. I told you ahead of time, but it's fine because
you didn't tell me downtown LA.
We're still at my house now. But I said, okay, so I was like, yo, by the way, we moved into our new office. We're going to be there next week. It's good. And then you're like, oh, I don't want to go down there. And but we had made all these plans to move the set and everything and to do everything. So you're like, I don't want to go down there. And then we talked about it for a little bit. And I said, okay, fine. And so we had to buy.
But that was the first time we ever spent money on production costs.
It's not about that, dude. It's literally about we are producing the show and I'm taking a cut. I feel like that's beyond reasonable.
All the
beyond
highlights.
Reasonable.
5%. 5%. Do you realize how much 5% was of our last one? That should be enough. But also like highlights, and then you weren't the membership I had to fight for because you weren't. Oh, I forgot to tell you about the members. Like
I giving you 50% of all the members, even though we work and do all of the work. I don't know why you fight me on money. The deal you have is beyond reasonable.
Okay.
No, but I feel like a lot of frustration you have about everything with the.
Frustrated. When I'm bringing stuff up, you get defensive. I'm not frustrated. I'm pointing out these things.